Okay, so I request we sit down, and I'll request Pamela to join us on stage for this final interactive session. And then for the speakers from yesterday, we have gifts for anybody who presented and was on stage, so kindly don't leave until you receive your gift. So Pamela, over to you to assist us with this final part of the program, which is a recap and plenary. Karibu sana.
Thank you so much, Martin. Good afternoon. How do we feel about the last 1.5 days? We feel awesome. Thank you so much, Chief George. Mine is very simple. We have listened to very rich conversations from our counties, from our Cooperative University of Kenya, from the Council of Governors. And I'm here basically for us to be able to reflect on what exactly we've picked from the two panelists. One that was led by Muthoni Njoroge, and the other one was led by Wakili Bobby Mkangi. And therefore, and of course, in case we also have questions that would be coming out of that, we should be open to asking those. And even as you prepare your questions and your reflections from the two sessions, I have a question, not a question really, but a comment, and probably if this is something that you've been able to hack as a county and you would want to share some of your best practices and some of the lessons and something that you would want someone else to benefit from. I have noticed that budgeting is a serious issue. And I was privileged in the last couple of work planning sessions to take part in some of the counties' work planning sessions. And what I noticed, something that has been echoed time and time again, is that actually there is a lot of underfunding. Cooperative is really underfunded in a majority of our counties. And I want to believe some counties are not experiencing the same challenge. And therefore mine is, number one, if this is something that you're not struggling with as a county, or if this is a challenge that you've already overcome, what are some of the lessons that we can pick from you? What strategies have you used maybe that are working for you that you would want to share for someone else to pick? Or what would you recommend really to counties? Right now we have an administration that has taken a keen focus for cooperatives. And as a cooperator, I am happy to be part of this conversation, because now we have our government, straight from the national down to the counties, looking at cooperatives as the vehicles for economic transformation. And that goes to say that then budgetary allocations really have to be looked into. I don't know whether we have any reflections, because this is one of the challenges that were really mentioned time and time again as part of the major challenges that we're encountering in our county. So my question is there something you're doing in your counties that is working that you would want us to borrow from? And we can also, if you have an answer, or if you have a lesson, or you have a best practice that you would want to share, we would be happy to hear from you. Shirley, I would invite you kindly to help me pass around the mic. And also, not necessarily on that one question that I just posed, I would also invite your reflections, very rich conversations here coming from our counties. And as I was listening, seated down there, I was so happy to be part of these conversations. Looking at familiar faces, looking at people articulate, with a lot of passion, what we've been talking about for the last couple of years, I can't be more prouder. So I invite you, with a show of hand, if you have a comment, a reflection, or even a question specifically to one of the panelists or anyone. And then, of course, before I wrap this session up, I will also be inviting Bobby Mkangi to make some comments on the policy making process and some of the recommendations, probably to answer some of the things that came up during the conversations. Yes, sir. Please tell us your name and the county you represent, and then you can go ahead and make your reflections.
Thank you. I'm Paul Langat from Bomet County.
Yes.
I have an observation which I think it's important to share with the other counties, especially on the issue of public participation. We know public participation nowadays is a great challenge, and it is anchored in the Constitution. So, and there are structures, like now in Bomet County, our governor has really supported us on this, and he has established a new office under Director of Public Participation within the Department of Administration. And from the director level, we have the sub-county administrators. And then we have the sub-ward administrators again. And then at the lower level, we have the village elders. And all of them are in place. So like now in the Department of Cooperatives, if I want to conduct a public participation, I will go through the director's office, who is in charge of public participation. And he will organize the mobilization. So it's my work only is to conduct my speeches and maybe what I want to really train the farmers or the cooperatives in the department. And then the ground will have been set to receive the information. And from there now, we'll be able to really conduct our cooperators without any cost. So I think it's important also for maybe other counties to really encourage the executive to really work on that line. And we have realized this one is really working. And it's not only benefiting cooperative departments, all the departments. So I can see this strategy has really assisted all the departments on conducting the public participation.
Thank you so much. So there's a lot of value that comes from having a directorate. Bomet has an entire directorate on public participation, ensuring that there are structures and someone is actually responsible for that. And also, just to underscore what was already shared here, we have existing structures in our counties. Some of them are unique to our context and to our counties. If we can make proper use of those, I want to believe that public participation will be something that will be able to flow seamlessly and will add a lot of value to the policies and the bills and anything else that we are making for our public and for our cooperators as well. Thank you so much, sir, from Bomet. Another reflection? Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. My name is Nelson Nyoro, Director of Cooperatives, Mombasa County. And like my friend James Mwasi here, who is an alumni, I confess that I am a dropout. The first 15 hours, I think I was there. But along the way, I think masomo ikakuwa gumu. Okay. But you give me a remedio. So I want to appreciate the entire conversation, especially for me who missed out on a number of classes. I've been able to catch up on the deliberations that took place. I was particularly impressed, and I want to thank my brother from Bomet. I think I have picked something that can be structured, a deliberate way of structuring public participation. Yes. So something that was mentioned by Mukami, and I want to pick that. Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at it from the point of should there be a query that could be litigated? And she brought means that looked very innovative, like, for example, the public barazas, meeting people in the market. But what would be the evidence for that? And especially when it is an ambush, you appear into a market, and you start talking to people about cooperative policy, and then you say, I am done now with public participation. And then a litigation comes that you did not go through public participation. I want to hear more in terms of how that engagement that may appear to be unstructured could be documented.
Thank you so much. As we will give Mukami an opportunity to respond, I would have this to say on that particular thing. Before you invite people for public participation, there is awareness creation. When Global Communities was supporting the task force that was working on the national cooperatives operationalization process, one of the things that we did, and I want to believe a majority of the counties seated here today can bear as witness, is that these documents are very technical. When you get that document and you're supposed to review in a couple of days and then make serious submissions, At times you don't even end up understanding what is contained in the document, and therefore what we did, of course, with our team of legal minds here, Bobby Mkangi, Mudoni, and the rest of the team members, and of course, led by Olga as well, was to break down what was contained in the document into a briefing sheet that was able to highlight some of, the key areas or the key issues that we felt the stakeholders who are our county, cooperative directorates and also our cooperatives as well, to be able to understand what are some of the enabling, disabling, what exactly do they need to do so that they are well informed. And therefore I want to believe what Mukami was getting into is we can do the sensitization forums where we can meet people in the churches, we can meet them at the marketplaces. As we sensitize, create awareness, let them know what is contained, and then we can also now announce that, we have these different ways of making submissions. They can be verbal on a particular day, this particular location, or you can make an official online or written submission through a particular way. So I want to believe that would be a very nice way of actually, creating awareness for informational, transformation, and then you can invite people to make submissions through different ways. But I will be happy to listen to Mukami, what she had in mind, so that we are well guided. Mukami.
Thank you. I just want to read an excerpt from a court judgment that was given on 17th April 2014. With respect to a petition that had been instituted by the citizens against Kiambu County. They were disputing that public participation had been done. And what Justice Odunga said was that public participation ought to be real and not illusory, and ought not to be treated as a mere formality for the purposes of fulfillment of the constitutional dictates. It was his view that county assemblies in enacting legislation should ensure that the spirit of public participation is attained both quantitatively and qualitatively. He said, and I quote, "It is not just enough, in my view, to simply tweet messages as it were, and leave it to those who care to scavenge for it. The counties ought to do whatever is reasonable to ensure as many of their constituents in particular, and the Kenyans in general, are aware of such intention to pass legislation, and where legislation in question involves such important aspects as payment of taxes and levies, the duty is even more onerous. He holds that it is the duty of the county government in such circumstances to exhort its constituents to participate in the process of the enactment of such legislation by making use of as many fora as possible, such as churches, mosques, temples, public barazas, national and vernacular radio broadcasting stations, and other avenues where the public are known to converge to disseminate information with respect to the intended action." I also want to quickly, this comes from a presentation I have made previously on what public participation is. You need to ensure that you have given timely access to information. You've provided approved and authenticated official documents to the public for discussion. There is reasonable access to the process of formulating and implementing policies and protection of the interests and rights of minorities. How do you navigate is the key question you asked. As long as you announce to the people that in the next 1 month we shall be holding various, we shall take part in various opportunities to bring to the attention of the citizen that this is what is being done, then you've already navigated quite a bit. So what you can do is take advantage of both, the notice boards I was saying, just announce that in the month of October on the cooperative bill. And then you can write in that notice that we will go to the markets. You don't even have to say in which date exactly, because like you said, it could be random. But the fact that you announced that in the whole of October, we will be coming to you to hear your opinion, and these documents can be found in hard copy at the chief's offices, or you can find them in our websites or on our Twitter. You've already navigated quite a bit. So the qualitative and the quantitative aspect of the public participation will have met its threshold should you be taken to court. But if you do that, you won't be taken to court. The chances of finding yourselves in a court of law are very minimal. I hope I've responded satisfactorily.
Thank you so much, Mukami. Yes, Madam Dana.
Thank you very much. Just to weigh in on the issue of public participation, my experience and my persuasion is that people, especially the communities, they are best placed to give you the solutions to their own problems. You as government, or us as government and as leaders, is to just create a structure within which their proposed solutions can be implemented. You know, I had someone use a very impressive term, calling it elite capture. You know, when we think sisi ndio tunajua. So, and this happens a lot with us in the executive, politicians, and maybe because of our own personal interests. But if we are honest to ourselves and we are looking to honestly solve the problems of our people, and we go to them and listen to them moja moja with an open mind, half of the solutions will come from them. More so if we enable now our people from where they sit, and I have seen this to work quite well, to interact with other people who are doing similar things as them. So for example, when we had, I think my director mentioned, we have forums where we train all cooperative leaders every year, and the county government of Nyeri pays for it. So if we are able to bring together, we have, for example, 23 coffee cooperatives. They come together. Wote ni chairman, wewe ni secretary. The same way we've come here together, you tell me, hey, this is what I'm doing in Marsabit, this is what I'm doing in Wajir, this is what I'm doing in Kisumu. Then over time, they are also able to learn from each other, so that we see public participation not only being between government and the people, but also people and the people, so that whichever solution is taken is for all of us. Because I guess that was the whole spirit of the Constitution. And to really see public participation, as somebody said it, an ongoing process, whereby, and I always give this chance, and I thank God that our officers have taken it up, where we say, okay, we've presented this. First of all, what do we expect from you? Because sometimes you go to public participation, unapata watu wa boda, they don't even know why they are there. Wamekuja tu, labda kuna chai na peano huko. So at the end of that forum, they also don't know what is expected of them. Remember, this concept of public participation is new to us, more so new to the public. So at the beginning of the forum, to say to do that civic education, to say we are here, these are the kind of views we want to hear from you, and no view is bad, no view is superior to the other, so they know what their duty is. My hope is that public participation is new. I think it's an excellent start that we've had, from ticking boxes now to being really, really committed to providing those solutions, which then makes governance simpler even for us. And I foresee in the future, maybe the gap that we have, it needs to be led. You know, we need to do public participation, but the question we are asking is how? Is it me as Kendi, as CEC, to just say, nyinyi mtafanya hivi, hao wengine watafanya hivi, the court ruled like this, so we will do it like this? If there could be one structure, national structure, of how public participations should be conducted, from the experience we have and everything, I think there's a policy around it, and there's proper sensitization, then I think it will really go a long way. But I think we've started out well, and I would just urge my colleagues to see the public as a source of so much knowledge. These guys know so much. I don't know if it is the experience in your counties. Sometimes we go for public participation, raia hapo tu jamaa wa Nduthi anasema kitu, you're shocked. These guys wako na mawaidha hata ya life. They have so much wisdom, street wisdom, that we can also gain from as we go on then to create policy and legislate. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing your wealth of knowledge and experience. And even as we contribute to, I can already tell that public participation is something that we are so interested and eager to share on. But remember, it's an entire process. The first panel discussion was, yes, on stakeholder engagement. And the second one was on, the public policy making process all the way from the conception of the ideas to the enactment, and therefore, if we can have our reflections and compass the entire journey, we will appreciate as well. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
My name is Dala Chilole. I'm the County Director of Cooperative from Marsabit County. I would like to make 2 comments. One is with regard to public participation. I would like to bring to your attention that there's a detailed guidelines on public participation, which was done by then the Ministry of Devolution. I don't know whether it was with the planning. So I think if you seek that document, then you will get, proper guidelines on public participation. Secondly, I would like to comment on the issue of strengthening partnership. From our experience, we have several partners, NGOs, locals, and internationals, which work in Marsabit County. And when we are talking about partnership, let's not only focus on the outside world, internal also. For instance, I don't know that is a case with your counties. Department of Agriculture, as they go and engage the farmers, agriculture and livestock and fisheries, they engage the cooperators in those areas. And more often, sometimes some of these departments, our internal departments within the county, they will go and engage and initiate the process of registering or establishing a cooperative, sometimes perhaps without involving the Department of Trade and Cooperative. So take note of that. So strengthen the partnership, internal, and that's the coordination interdepartmental. Secondly, where we have talked about constraint, the budget constraints, then we can leverage on the partners, the NGOs, locals and international ones within our county. More often, these NGOs, they have their own specific tailor-made program to the communities in different sub-counties and wards. When they engage these community members in the livelihood programs, they want to empower them economically. And in doing that, cooperatives forms part of it. Some of them start with saving, local saving as a women group, and then using a graduation model, then they walk the journey with these groups, and then they promote them to cooperative level. So where we have had the challenge of budget, then we liaise with these partners, we do the planning together, they loop us into their programs, then that's how we manage to establish a number of cooperatives. And then when it comes to now monitoring of all those cooperatives, then the same partners now, they come on board. Just recently we had, a trade fair. And as you know, counties have budget challenges. We had over 70 participants, farmers cooperative, and most of all those ones have been supported, actually all of them, by the partners. They hire the tents for them, they transport them from all corners of the county. So in terms of strengthening the partnership, let's look internal and outside. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. And I love the issue of getting additional funding from the partners, but I'm also looking for someone who will make a reflection about how internally, as our counties are doing budgetary allocations, how exactly do we ensure that, I have sat in work planning sessions and the cooperative budget for an entire year was around 5 million, while some other departments had, over 100 millions, and I couldn't understand what exactly happened. And I'm coming to appreciate that that could be a scenario in a majority of the counties. So how exactly can we lobby internally, or how exactly do we, speak to the importance of our directorate, even internally within the county government, so that the resources are more and more allocated to be able to do so much that we ought to be doing? I will start with you, and then I'll be coming to you.
Oh, I'm already up, eh?
Sorry?
Pam, I'm already up.
Oh,
You
sorry,
can't see
sorry,
me.
sir.
Thank you.
My apologies. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Pam. My wife is also called Pam, so I'm very easy with the name Pam. Thank you. My name is Elijah Dede, Chief Officer in charge of cooperatives in Homa Bay County. I'm hardly 2 months old, so I wonder whether you will learn from me. Anybody will learn from me. But I want to say I'm now learning from people because I've never worked in the government before. But getting the knowledge from people around here makes me now easy, although I had the support of my director, Alice, and my 2 technical staff, Brighton and Nick. But I've learned a lot in this area. And public participation is very key in everything. Where we were, there was nothing like public participation. Very few, if any. So you make decisions, it goes on. But here, it is a must. And I must confess, it's the best thing to do because you get the people to know what you want to do. But what is important is what people have agreed upon in the public participation, actualize it. Because there's no point of talking about public participation, then you come another year, same thing, then they say, what's the essence of coming for public participation? So implementation is very key in public participation. And I like what Diana said yesterday about having to know the people you work with around. Know what your governor wants. Know what your waziri wants and what the MCAs want. If you do that, it's going to be very easy for you to navigate the journey within the government. But by and large, it is important that we work as a team because what you have said and what everybody has said here, there's a lack of budgeting in terms of the Directorate of Cooperatives. Why is it so? Is it a lesser directorate? So it is upon us who work in the directorate to bring it up, to make it big, so that people now start appreciating that this sector is very key. And so that other staff would now wish to come and work in the Directorate of Cooperatives. But as it is like a shell. Yeah, nobody wants to be there. So it is upon the group that is here to make it known and to make it grow. Otherwise, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. And yes, we are learning a lot from you as well, even though you're only 2 months old. And again, not director, but Chief Officer Kitui County also reminded us what Waziri Diana said yesterday, that public policy making process is both a technical aspect, has a technical aspect and also a political one. And even as we look forward to a stakeholder engagement, we need to remember the internal stakeholders who, if they decide they're not part of your process, then you can come up with very good documents, but they won't even let them pass. So we need to ask ourselves, who are our stakeholders? They need to understand what it is what exactly are they benefiting from that? Because when you engage stakeholders, it has to make sense to them. It has to have a value for them. So once that understanding is very clear, we've seen counties that move very closely and very easily and very quickly because, number one, every stakeholder that was important to them was involved. Thank you. I'll come to you, Dr. Karemi, but Madam Pamela here is already holding a microphone. Yes.
Yeah, I was just thinking aloud. In cooperatives, who are our major stakeholders? Our major stakeholders are members of those cooperatives in our counties, wherever they are.
Yes.
Now, these cooperative societies, members, you know, we have a structured way of doing our meetings. And I'm just wondering, and to those avenues we can have public participation, are they actually not public participation for us? I'm talking about our annual general meetings, our special general meetings. Where a notice is put, 14 days, we'll have so and so, we'll have this particular meeting in a particular place at this time, the agendas are put there. Then in the AOB, tunasema, whatever will be discussed there is something that has been in the public domain, in the members, whatever, for at least 15 working days.
Yeah.
So aren't those actually public participation for us?
They They are.
Cooperators who are
Yes,
here.
they are.
So what are we reinventing here? Because me, I think what we've been doing all through is public participation. It's just that the word has changed.
Yeah.
And then, as directors or the technical officers in that field, are we making these meetings, other than the normal agendas that are there in our acts, which are very, very clear, are we making them to be more productive to our members? Because that, now again, that one is left to us as the technical people, so that these forums or these general meetings benefit the members. I mean, I'm wondering where I should go to a market, Daraja Moja market there, where everybody is doing their business, to go and hold a public participation about a cooperative bill where some people there won't understand what I'm doing. But that I can have that fora very organized in a special general meeting where, again, it will cost me very little money or no money at all, because, most general meetings are organized by the committee members, the board members themselves, and they know how they are going to organize them, which venue, what they'll do to their members. And in that way, we'll have saved so much of this budget we are talking about here.
Thank you. Thank
Are
you,
you getting
Madam
it?
Yeah.
So, me, I think let's look at those our general meetings and our special general meetings, our management committee meetings in a more broader, a broader way than the little things that we do there. And then about the budget that you've just talked about. Our governors have manifestos that are very clear. And if you look at most of these manifestos, agriculture, haikosekani huko. Like I'll give an example of our governor. Manifesto yake is Pyrethrum, key, revival of Pyrethrum, revival of coffee. Are you getting it? Bananas, avocados. A sharp cooperative officer will use that opportunity. As governor is reviving these activities, maybe taking the seedlings and everything, then beside that, I should be very busy making sure the institutions that are going to deal with the value addition of these products are strong and vibrant. That way, I'm able to convince my governor, please, we need to do what? As you are doing, as you are giving these seedlings, in a year or two, we are going to have plenty. We'll need those aggregation centers. So can you do something here? Can you put a budget here? So I think it is all has to deal with us as the technical officers in wherever we come from, so that some of these things, budgets are put at the right time, at the right place.
Thank you so much. Dr. Karimi, kindly. If you can make a reflection. We are picking the lessons.
Thank you, Pam. Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Just trying to respond to your issue of finance. I think according to the cooperative principles, the cooperative identity, economic participation of the members is key. Now, someone talked about a challenge of market access, lack of finance. Now, if we look at our different counties, I know in Kitui there is dengue, isn't it? Where do we consume dengue mostly? Let's say Nairobi or Kisumu. So I'm looking at cooperative to cooperative trade as an avenue for market access. We don't have to look out, maybe Uganda they have more food, but we don't have to look very far. If we look at our different counties and our comparative advantages, among the cooperatives in our counties, we can link them together and establish that thing we are calling cooperative to cooperative trade. They will get better terms, they will get a reliable market, and then we can have the vision of consumer cooperatives thriving in Africa, which I think they are not very vibrant. But if you look at developed countries like Japan, Europe, the retail stores in those places are consumer cooperatives. So if we can have consumer cooperatives in our counties, organize the youth and the women, then there is market access for all. We can have all the mangoes from Makueni, all the milk from Mandera, even the camel milk, and there can be markets within our country, even before we go outside. We can stop importing. So cooperative to cooperative trade, I think it's a way to give market access and finances. She just saying that these people can finance the meetings and the trainings. And there we can deal a bit with the issue of budgets in our counties. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ari.
Okay.
I'll take two more, so
Okay.
you will bear with me. Masazina to...
Okay, my name's William Tiambati from Narok,
Yes, sir.
a technical officer. Okay, mine, I just wanted to respond to the issues of how we are going to get fundings. You know, in this case, we are talking about us as the department having no fund. It's not us as cooperatives.
True, true.
So, us as a department, the only way we are going to get the fundings, I propose we have the CIDP. We make sure this, you know, as a department, we are a service department. And if we are a service department, it means we have programs that are supposed to trickle down to the cooperators. So when you go to this meeting, whatever these people raise, we make sure that it is captured in the CIDP, and our directors, our CCs, and the CEOs, you make sure wherever those CIDPs are being planned, you make sure whatever you said in the CIDP will be in the ADP and will be in the final plan, because that is where our budget are being slashed. Hizo vitu wakati zinatengenezwa huko, hizi maneno za cooperative, you know, mkikutana pale, ule mtu atakuwa mkali, vitu zake inaondolewa. So you make sure you do a follow-up on the program that you say you are going to implement. About public participation, let's not link public participation with money. Let's link the public, the policies with money. Let's make this community understand that we are going to get money out of a policy we have made. When we do that, automatically these people are going to come to these meetings. Because when you are going to show that ndio kazi ifanyike, lazima kuwe na pesa mahali, hii watu watakuja. Lakini tukifanya watu waelewe ya kwamba hii sheria ambayo tunaenda kusema, hiyo program ambayo itafanywa na serikali ndio italeta pesa ambayo tutafanya kazi nayo. Si kila mtu atakuja pale. So let us detach the policies with the money. Another thing is the strategy. We have different areas. Like I come from Narok North. There's the issues of timing. Unakuta wale watu ni wakulima. Wezi panga mkutano ya wakulima asubuhi, na watu generally wanaamkanga asubuhi na kwenda kazi. Baada ya saa 7 ndio unaona watu wanaweza tokelezea. Na wewe umepanga mkutano wako unaenda saa 4. Utakuta nani? Haya, uko rural areas, like we come from a pastoralist community. Unakuta watu wanaenda kuchunga. Saa zile watoto wanataka shuleni, ndio mtu anaweza patikana kuje kwa meeting. Na wewe umepanga meeting yako umesukumia saa 4, utapata nani? So ukifanya hivyo, at the end of the day unaenda kupata those watu wanakwanga, yani wale watu ambao maybe wako idle, so you end up losing the most important people, na hata unaona they are responsible. Hao si ndio wanachunga, mtu akienda kuchunga mali yake, sinamaanisha yule mtu ndio ako responsible. Lakini wewe umeenda umeleta views ya wale tu wakora wa Unaona? So you target the working people in the society. Hao watu wenye wako serious wanachunga, wanaangalia nini yao, shughuli zao.
Thank you. Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, thank you.
Asante. One of the things that we hope to achieve for the last 2 days was peer-to-peer learning. And honestly, this is it. I only have one comment pending. Bwana Oscar, and you will be closing the show for this conversation.
Yeah, thank you. Oscar from Busia, Director of Cooperatives, Busia. Now I want to comment on public participation. Personally, I think within the cooperative sector, it's not difficult to get the leaders to come for public participation. The question is, who do you invite to come to the public participation? Because that will also inform the quality of the discussions in that participation. Now, within the cooperative sector, the main stakeholders are members and members. But we know members elect their representatives. Let's say 9 management committee members and 3 supervisory committee members. Within the cooperative sector, if you invite those, they will never fail to come for a meeting. They will never fail. But if you invite any other person, then demands will start cropping in. So in Busia, what we've said, we've discouraged this issue of handouts, transport reimbursement and maybe lunch or something. We always hammer the point that cooperatives are not government entities. They belong to the members.
Yes.
And therefore, we have come up with what we call sub-county cooperative development fora in every sub-county. They are not anchored in law, but we are practicing that. And even, for example, a function like the Ushirika Day, 90% of the budget is funded by the movement themselves. So I think it's the way we approach them. And now in our county cooperative bill, we want to anchor these forums in law. We have anchored the county cooperative development forum and also the sub-county cooperative development forums, where those leaders elect themselves and they lead their forum. So anytime we need them, we just activate the forum meetings and they'll come. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bwana Oscar. Please allow me.
Pamela.
Allow me.
Pamela, one point here.
Yes, sir. Martin, as he speaks, please come forward. Yes, Director.
Yes, thank you for that. On the aspect of the budgeting, we can still push the budgeting through the COG, the Council of Governors.
Okay.
So through the you can hear me?
Yeah.
So I'm saying that through the COG, where we have a few governors who are the members of the council, we're going to push the budget through them. So through the Director Gizito and Hammond, who are the COG representatives, we can organize for a forum like this one, where we all come, we as the county officials, we face them, they are seated there as panelists, then we present our case to them.
Okay.
Know that the value of what we are doing to the county, the impact it has to the society, the living level, and therefore they're going to push now to the other fellow governors.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, sir. And COG is seated here. I believe they have taken note. What is doable will be done. But one thing, we are cooperators, we shout, we are a movement, we will be heard. And therefore, even as we prepare our CIDPs, let's be very clear and articulate and budget and plan. And I want to believe that one of these days we shall sit down and we shall look at our huge budgets and what exactly we have been able to achieve as a movement. Again, the current administration has cooperative as the vehicle for economic transformation. Let's take advantage for once. We have gotten that recognition. And maybe right now we may not be able to see the benefits coming out of that, but I want to believe someday we should be able to see that. And of course, where functions are, resources are released, and I want to believe that we shall be able to see these actualized. Bwana Mwangiri, or is it, okay, one comment, then Mwangiri, and then I'll be handing over to you, Martin. I am sorry.
Not even one.
Yes.
My name is Daiba Hassan.
Yeah.
Is it working?
Yeah.
Director Cooperative for Wajir County. All of us, we have complained about budget reduction.
Yes.
It's like something that's common to all counties.
Yeah.
This is happening because governors and those who are in power see cooperative as privates. And they are wondering why money should be pumped to private entities. So money goes to health, money goes to water, money goes to agriculture. So for me, I could have said, Council of Governors to organize for a retreat for the governors. Cooperative specialists, the directors, and maybe some from Coop University, and team from economic recovery to sit with them, show them the importance of cooperatives. Not all of them are cooperators, none of them maybe, one or two. They are maybe from other companies, auditors, their own business. They are not understanding the importance of cooperative. That's why cooperative suffers budget cuts. At the department level, directors and technical officers do the budget. We do everything, from CIDP, ADP, final budget, but when the budget is signed, what you find there is maybe salary, and something small like 4 million, 3 million. for the whole year. If you go to agriculture, the budget is heavy. If you go to water, the budget is heavy. But for cooperative, it's like, why should it exist? That's why at national level we have Ministry of Agriculture fully fledged. But at county level, is there any county with fully fledged cooperative ministry? No, we are either under agriculture or under trade.
Thank you.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
So the best thing is for COG to organize for maybe meeting for these governors and also some MCS, because they are the ones passing the bill, the budgets.
Thank
if
you.
they see there's something missing, they can say, why is this here?
Asante sana.
They can, I'm not yet finishing.
Okay.
I'm all the way from Wajir.
Yes.
I was here for 2 days.
Yes,
so
yes,
I have
madam.
to exhaust everything that I have.
Yes.
For public policy making process learning forum, Wajir County was not among the counties that benefited, but that doesn't mean we don't have the opportunity.
True.
All the other counties that have not benefited, we will look means and ways to partner with Strathmore University, look for partners, and also take part in the process and make our own policies. The other thing is how to survive. We have been surviving with that little budget. The little budget we have, we are resilient. Cooperatives are known for resilience. The best thing is look for stakeholders. Look for NGOs. You'll be supported. But if you sit comfort in the office, you'll never be helped. The other thing that I liked was about the value chain approach. The value chain approach to me is something that is very good. Northeastern is known for livestock. And if livestock sector is strengthened, if we have the feedlots, food production for animals, I think we'll do better. Because Nyeri and other counties are known for coffee, others are known for tea. We are also known for livestock, but our livestock sector has never been strengthened. We have been hearing of coffee subsidy, tea subsidy, but there was no livestock subsidy. So this time, because of the value chain approach, maybe livestock sector will be developed and we'll be hearing of livestock sector subsidy. So the value chain approach to me is an opportunity. The other thing that I'm requesting is Kenya is big, Kenya is beautiful, Kenya has a lot of opportunities. We only think about the negative parts of our country. When we hear of Wajir, what comes to your mind? Dry, hot place, insecurity. But here I'm here to tell you, Wajir is the safest place in the country where one person in Wajir, we sleep outside the houses. We don't sleep inside the houses. Where else can you put your nets outside and sleep very comfortable? Our houses are like stores because they are very hot. So we put our mattresses outside and sleep very comfortable until we hear the call of Adhan, that's 5:30, and then we wake up for prayers. So the negative attitudes that we have, I'm just telling you, Wajir is the safest place. The other thing is, we are rich of tourist attraction in Wajir County. Are you aware the biggest lion monument in the world is found in Wajir? Who has ever thought of that? We have a lion hill, a very big monument, just like a lion. You see that hill, you'll just see a lion. I think KTN NTV was there 2 months ago, and they have featured it. It is in Wajir. Please come to Wajir, see the lion hill. We also have waterfalls called Shalete Waterfalls in Wajir. So the dry land that we hear, we have waterfalls. Will you believe it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Come and see for yourself.
Thank you.
We also have a tortoise and a cobra monuments, a hill itself. Naturally, nobody carved it. There's a cobra here, there's a tortoise here. It's like they're biting one another. That hill is also there. So I see an opportunity where we can create maybe a tourist attraction. Can we call it, I'm thinking of a word or maybe a community-owned something for cooperatives. Yeah. Yeah. So that's Wajir. If you go to Marsabit, we have the biggest desert in East and Central Africa, the Chalbi Desert. Yeah. You go to maybe Mandera, the same thing. So the notion of saying arid and semi-arid, marginalized. Yes, we were marginalized, but we should not sleep and say we are marginalized. We should wake up and do what we can. We also have homegrown solutions. We talk of SACCOs having riba interest. We don't take interest as Islams, but that has not deterred us from forming our own homegrown SACCOs that lend to their members without charging interest. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We appreciate. George, you're closing our session. Let's have George. As the very last comment, thank you so much. Indeed, our uniqueness is our wealth. There's so much to offer as a country. You visit a county and you get to appreciate the beauty and our diversities and the richness of what we should be known for, and not the narratives that we've had over the years. And I'm so happy Bwana Kizito is here. You know, so many is thrown at the COG. I want to believe you'll be able to get 1 or 2, 3 things and to be able to see how best we can support our counties. Bwana Mwangiri, the very last comment from the session.
Thank you, Pam. My name is George Katama Mwangiri. I'm repeating it for the sake of my brother Martin, who is calling me George Katu, Katumaya. So I think for his benefit, that's what I'm repeating. Okay. I'd like to add some comments in terms of budgeting, and maybe I'll share my short experience in the county when I joined there.
Yes, please.
So when I joined the county government of Kilifi, and after I've been appointed by the governor, I don't know, Mwasi is very, very crafty. I don't know how he got my number, and I got his SMS, Chief, you are the new chief. Hi. Then I started talking to Mwasi even before I joined the office. So when we were interacting, he told me that they have nil budgets in cooperatives. So that was a concern. So I was asking myself, why should I leave my lucrative job to go somewhere where there's no budget? So immediately I called the Waziri and we had a meeting with the governor. And the governor told us that we have his blessings and we have to push that cooperatives get the budget. So 1, it is a matter of pushing. You really need to push. And then 2, we went to the Department of Economic Planning. And then we ensured that the CIDP which was there, I can assure you, Mwasi, cooperatives, there was nothing in cooperatives, totally nothing. So it means in cooperatives, we were to get 0 budgets. So we sat with them, with Waziri, and we ensure that all our sub-programs are in the CIDP, and we ensure that we protect it up to the letter. Because you know what happens with the CIDP? The first draft you see today and the final draft that is going to be launched, it's different because it keeps on changing. And every time it changes, your sub-programs are removed. So we had our policy as a sub-program. We needed money for governance, advisory services. We ensure it is there up to the last minute. We said cooperative, we needed money for education, training, and information. We ensured money is there to train our people. We needed money for marketing and value addition. We ensure it is there up to the latter. And we needed money for promotion of cooperative enterprises. We ensure money it is there. Now, next, after the CIDP, the other game began, county assembly. We went to the county assembly, and it was like all the MCs were asking why we need that money. So it was another fight. So we had to fight for the county assembly to ensure that that money remains there. And if possible, money from other directorates is added to the cooperative department. And that wasn't easy. It was a lot of lobbying. I hope you remember my former CC. Yeah, he used to pack and brag. Yeah. So we used to push for that. So guys, what I can tell you, you have to show the government that you need that money. How do you show it? You have to give them tangible sub-programs. You have to be innovative. Like this concept of this worker cooperatives. This is we've already sold it at Kilifi there. And in the supplementary budget, we are going to get money to ensure that we push that new concept, because that's an innovation. We are trying to think out of the box. So that is on budgeting. And on public participation, I agree with one of my brother here that the issue with public participation, which I'm also crying, because I think within this week they are doing a public participation at my place. You know, they do it during the weekdays. People are working, it's a working day. So the people who participate in those public participations are our old people in the village or the adlais at the village. You won't get anybody with any tangible contribution in the village during this time, because everybody is out, is working. If it is a farmer, is at his farm. If it is a herder, he's out there herding his livestock. So you'll find that this public participation, they most of the time miss the target. So I think as a government, I think we need to structure and sacrifice. If we want them to have value, then they should be done over the weekends, Saturdays, whereby all the people who can think, who can add value to that document are going to be available. Thank you very much.
Asante sana, Chief. We appreciate. What a way to close the session, and with that, a round of applause to each one of us as I hand it over to Maxine.
Thank you very much, and Pam, I'll ask you to stay right there. We have gifts for any person who spoke yesterday, and I wanted to start with Madam Diana, who is here with us from Nyeri County. Karibu sana. And Bobby, I was requested to give you 3 minutes for a right of response, but exactly 3 minutes. So a round of applause. Our camera person is not around, but I think we've gotten a good video. Okay, Bobby, kuja utusaidie na picha yako. And then the video, you can zoom in, we'll get a screenshot from that. Thank you very much. I believe we had Narok County, Bomet, Nyeri. Did we miss anybody? Any of the other speakers from yesterday? Oh, Bwana Mwagiri. George? Mwangiri. Mwangiri. I'm sorry, I was reading what was written for me. George Mwangiri. Karibu sana, Bwana George. Diana, our camera is here, so you'll come, we do another one for the official. I can give you another one here, make believe one. You had already packed it, huh? Kuja tu tutakupatia ingine ya picha. We'll just do this one for her photo, and then just for the show. Have I missed anybody else who spoke yesterday? Okay. Yeah. Asante sana. So I'll have, for this remaining two, I'll ask Olga to give me a way of recognizing the two most outstanding participants. Yesterday? Is he? Okay. Okay, it has gone down to one. Bwana Kizito. Karibu sana. Ulipata zawadi ama bado? Karibu, karibu, karibu. Ulipata jana? Alipata. Oh, okay, alipata. It's okay, alipata. We want to, Olga, you get whatever criteria you choose. We've got 2 more bags. So whichever criteria you choose to recognize, and with that I'll request a round of applause for Pam. Thank you very much, Pam. Bobby, you literally have 3 minutes, and we give Olga whatever basis she desires to pick 2 to receive a gift. Bobby, I think just a response to everything you had. Pam mentioned there might be 1 or 2 things you clarify. Oh, notebook, okay. And then Olga, you pick any 2. Any 2. County, individual, whatever basis you have. Participants. The Africa Cooperative Alliance. somebody who's really stood out for you? The organizing committee members? There would be an organizing committee member, whoever you choose.
I think that is the cue for those who have Olga's M-Pesa number. Quickly. The one who acts fast. Okay, I want to respond to two particular issues. Definitely the first one is on public participation. I think the responses were preponderance of responses was on public participation. And it's not surprising, the panel we had, the discussions, and the experience that we've had as a country for 13 years proves that this, as I was saying in the morning, is a beast that we are still trying to understand, we are still trying to tame. It is like that prophetic and proverbial elephant that each one of us, being like, again, the proverbial visually challenged rat or mouse, we tend to touch, and what we touch, or the part we touch, is what we feel is public participation. And to an extent, we are all right in the different approaches that we use. And I think the discussions today also did give very good nuances in terms of how different jurisdictions approach public participation. I think we benchmarked also on how we can be innovative and creative in ensuring that wananchi are engaged. I think what I would like to add to that discussion are two things. One, we need to look at public participation as an enduring, diurnal requirement. It is, and I liked when presenters and commenters said that public participation is not an event. Public participation is a process. When you look at how the Constitution thinks of it, and as I said in the morning, it creates it as a way of buttressing wananchi's sovereignty, but also as a way of ensuring that transparent and open government is an enduring, sustainable activity in our governance system. So in those different ways and means that we've talked about public participation, and I think very, very eminently stemming from the fact that we also need to plan this through strategically through policy documents. Thank you, my colleague from Marsabit, Lole. Thank you, for reminding us about the guidelines. I think we can trace them from COG's Maarifa Center. I think those are available there. There is a national participation, public participation bill. I think many of us also have come up with legislation. We've come up also with institutional support for the same in terms of directorate. And this also stemming from the fact that the County Governments Act, there is a whole chapter dedicated to public participation. There is a whole chapter dedicated to civic education. And so these are not things that are administratively wished for. These are constitutional and statutory requirements. And I think the discussion here of does give me confidence that we are continuously delving and wondering how we can make public participation effective. I think Professor earlier in the morning also gave us certain criteria that we can use to ensure that it is effective, centered along also ensuring that civic education is continuous, but also the provision of information, because wananchi will only participate if they have the correct information. If they don't have information, if they're not well informed and educated, then they will not effectively participate. Mukami gave us the traditional within-the-box strategies. I remember a while back working on this issue with the now defunct Ahadi 1. Those parameters would come out. We would think about what happened to the age-old suggestion box, which if we had in our different institutions, for instance, remember we used to have that in high school and at university. And whoever was responsible, I remember one time I was responsible for making sure I opened the suggestion box every morning at university. And you'd find people commenting on different things, including all kind of manner of things you can imagine of university students. But those structures, those institutions were there. And now also we're reminded of technology which we can employ to ensure that we keep our communities engaged. Nandi County with a call center. I think there are other counties also that have come with SMS platforms which they can use on a daily basis, not only during the events that I think, as my brother from Mombasa, Bwana Nyoro, mentioned. How do we document? And I think continually, when we come up with these structures, we also need to come up with mechanisms of ensuring that we also document that these activities are ongoing, even when we go to the market. Here we've been taking a lot of pictures and videos. That is one way of documenting that this activity happened. So we can also do that when you go to the informal, facilities that are out there. So let me rest on that, on public participation and civic education. Just the last note, and this is primary, on the legislation. There was a question posed, and the issue that has been going on for the last 13 years, actually. And that's why some of us, ran ahead and came up with our own policies and pieces of legislation on cooperative regulation. But again, there was a challenge of without national guidance, how do we move around? And also, during the 2 days that we've been here, we've also heard of the process of enacting the national cooperatives bill and where it is. And the mention by Bwana Marube yesterday that the discussions probably anticipate some changes of the current bill in 1 or 2 areas. I think he mentioned the issue of term limits, the issue of age, but more infusing facilities or devices in the legislation to promote the participation of youth and women and other special interest groups in our society. What I wanted to say, because I had some counties say they are probably, or right now they feel cautioned to wait until the national piece of national legislation is passed, is that when you look at the model bill and the model regulations and the model policy, you will discover that it actually anticipated the national documents. Fortunately, the policy is already adopted. It's now a sessional paper. So the policy documents are already aligned to the national thinking. The bills also are very much aligned to the national thinking. And what I was happy to hear from Bwana Marube, and I hope that is the case, on those 3 issues, is that when you look at the draft or the model bills, you'll discover that they also anticipate that thinking. They are crafted in a way, for those of you, when we are together, you'd see even where we are supposed to cite the express citation of the national legislation, but because we have CAP 490 right now, we're anticipating the one that will be enacted or passed. We're not even sure how it will be cited. What we are worried about is the content therein. And that's why in our bills, we would cite national legislation. I don't know, those of you who can remember would say, and as anticipate, or in national legislation without citing it. And I can tell you, if you look at the County Government Act, that terminology is also used, national legislation. So it is phrased in a wide way that will accommodate changes, and especially those that were mentioned, the 3 issues that were mentioned by Bwana Marube yesterday. You'll find that the bills that, as Paul reminded us, what we used to call the Hotel Rio drafts, most of those accommodate and anticipate the changes. Because for me, I thought the biggest issue would be how we tried to align the interface between our county directorates and the SDC, and what particular aspects of tasks in certain areas of regulation would come out. That's a fear I had, that if what is already anticipated is thoroughly unraveled, then we'd probably have to go back to the drawing board. But those areas were not touched. And the areas that were touched in terms of affirmative action, in terms of infusing the participation of youth and women, go back to your bills, look at them, you'll find that they anticipate those issues. And finally, have no fear. Even if we pass our legislation as is right now, the Constitution still gives us guidance on how we will apply them. In the areas where there is contradiction, the national one will prevail. So it doesn't mean that ours is unconstitutional. We'll use the proposal, or rather the provision in the national legislation. However, in our legislation, the areas where we have couched an issue in a better way than the national one, then ours shall prevail. And in the areas where we are also silent, then we'll use the national legislation. So all these scenarios have been anticipated either within the draft models, or the Constitution gives guidance on how the application of the county versus the national legislation shall be treated. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Brian. I've just remembered you need to go with one of this. I think you remember why. You remember why, yeah? Okay, umekumbuka. So Olga, you get to pick one person. One. At least you had not verbalized who. M-Pesa. And this person who Olga picks personifies the best of this learning forum. So no pressure on that, but whoever you pick, Olga, represents everything that has gone well about this forum. Over to you.
Mwalimu, napendanga kuweka watu exams. Allow me to stand here. Now, even me, I've learned. So now I was put on the spot, and I've decided we will do this through public participation. And so I'll request you to nominate 3, then we vote for 2. And I'll ask Wakili Mukame to come and be the eyes and counter of the votes. Ndio kukienda hivi, it's Brenda's hand went up first. Nominating the lady from Wajir. So there's Asimame. Another nomination, yes? Imenda. Iyo Imenda. Imenda. Congratulations, madam. Karibu sana, you receive your gift. Okay. You know, one has to play it safe. Public participation can help you play it safe. So now we've learned.
So I think next time you come for an event, please be active, be very supportive, and also be ready to learn.
Absolutely. Shadrach, I'll request you to come and I've been informed lunch is ready. We have to be out of the tent by 3 o'clock, but we have a full 50 minutes to eat and interact. Shadrach, who oversees our executive education programs at the business school, will help to wrap up what I think has been a fantastic learning forum. Don't you think it has gone well? Just reach out to your neighbor and tell them imekuwa poa. From policy to action. Thank you very much, and I sign off as your MC as I hand over to Shadrach. Over to you, Shadrach.
Thank you, Martin. Good afternoon, everybody. Good afternoon once more. I was going to make some closing remarks, but before I do that, I want to invite Mokami because she has done a bit of making sure that what was discussed is very articulately captured, so that she can do that and then I can make some closing remarks. Mokami, thank you.
Thank you, Shadrach. I actually had no intention of giving the way forward. I wanted it to come from us, but because of time, I'll give an opportunity to 3 counties. I'll give an opportunity to my director, committees who is present, and to Olga to tell us what they commit to doing following this learning session that we have had. So earlier I saw very many of us were eager to raise our hands. If you had not been given an opportunity, maybe you can tell us what from this peer learning session you will commit to doing in the cooperative sector in your counties. I don't know if there's a mic roaming. As the counties think, Director, would you like to take the first go at what you commit to the council to doing? There was a specific request. I don't know if it'll be possible, but the director from Wajir said that she wants the governors to have a sit down to understand cooperatives so that they can commit to it, they can commit funding to it, they can have a conversation with the MCAs on how best to propel this sector forward. Is that something we're able to do? Would you like to speak to that? I don't know if there's a mic near my director. He's at that end. I think in the interest of time, let's try and do this very quickly.
Good morning. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You know, the priest yesterday said something which is very important. He said, "Be tell us to speak." And I want to say, I'm one of the newest members in the cooperative in the sector, but I'm not the youngest. I had the opportunity to work with the Ministry of Planning since 2002, and we were part of the people who crafted the economic recovery strategy for wealth and employment creation in this country. And the cooperative sector then was thriving. Remember, all people in the cooperative sector were finishing the schools in up to 1992, and then they get employed. And the last time these people were cooperatives were people were employed was 1993, and then they have to stay for 13 years, up to 2006. Again, when now through the reforms were done, when the Buki was the PS, and Other people are recruited. Thereafter, until devolution came, where the cooperatives was killed. Why was cooperative killed? It was killed because the people who are being being promoted were other people, and it cost a lot to this country, and that's why cooperative went down. If we look at this room, personally, I'm not a trained cooperative manager, but as a manager, most of you are crying about resources. Please remember in management what's called budgeting, planning well, whatever you are calling a CIDP, control, staff well. If you don't staff the cooperatives or the cooperative department, you will have a problem. If you don't have people with resource mobilization skills, we'll have a problem. So so one thing I want to say about this public policy, and Mwalimu is here. My Mwalimu is here. This is a business school. Learn pestle analysis when you are doing anything in cooperative. Know how to manage the political level. See how the issue of equity. May it be gender mainstreaming or whatever. Learn how you segregate and also how to deal with the other S. Learn the society now. Learn about the technology, how the technology is changing. It is rapid. You have to change if you want to remain relevant. The legal framework, do it. And nowadays, we have added another Mwalimu, the ethical one, because we are in this university. So the issue of cooperators, ati mnaitisha pesa ndio musaini vitu.
Allow me to rush you.
Yes.
Because we need
so I'm sorry I got the opportunity late. Let me just keep quiet. But I want to say this.
I need your commitment. What do you commit to doing from tomorrow?
Personally, I commit to finish whatever which was in Samburu in the next 1 month. The next 1 month.
Can we clap for
without crying of resources. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes.
He ate all the time for the counties, so
yes.
I will ask Naomi to move to Olga and Director Kizito.
Before she picks the mic.
But
Kizito,
she needs to go with the mic.
Kizito, you have a big task. Because, so that we need a body to regulate the cooperatives. Because, and see what they are performing, their performance. So that we can see, even if it is the control, even if it comes to another, we need a body to do the monitoring of the cooperatives. We need, and the Cooperative Alliance, we need. Because some people are just taking they are just silent, and they're not taking it seriously about the cooperatives.
Thank you. Slight change to the program. I will leave it at that. I was to give a few counties. I invite Shadrach back. As he finishes his vote of thanks, he will welcome Olga to make her closing remarks, who will give us her commitment before she sits down. Then invite Director Kizito to make his closing remarks, who will give the council's commitment. Thank you.
Thank you, Mukami. Let's appreciate her again. I'll make my remarks quite brief because a lot has gone into the conversation yesterday and today. And I'll start by thanking the organizers of this event, Olga and your team, Haron and the COG team, the SBS team, and all the leadership that went into making this a possibility. It has been a conversation for many days, but seeing it happen is a great milestone. Let's appreciate the team that organized this. And you see the session was tagged from policy to action. And I sat in the room, and part of the conversation, there are two things I picked out. And so as we make our commitment and as we go back to our counties, I think what was coming out from us, it was, how do we execute? There has been learning interventions. Martin and the team have done a fantastic work to support us in the public policy making process. Have we taken the step to the next level? And that is what Olga and team have been supporting the different counties to do, with a lot of support from our legal minds. And so the conversation around execution has come out quite strongly. The second conversation that has come out very strongly is the conversation around the numerous opportunities and possibilities that we have at our disposal. And as we talk about execution, the question is, are we aware of the different interventions that we can roll out to take advantage of the opportunities there are in our different counties? And that came out, again, very strongly. And as we had those conversations, what stood out, and Director Kizito yesterday talked about it, are we drawing synergies from the different players, from the different actors, to make sure that we push a certain agenda? Or are we pushing in our own strength and in our own, cocoons, without leveraging on the synergies? And I think that is something we need to take home. How do we leverage on the synergies from the different actors, players, so that we work towards achieving a common goal for our communities in our transformation agenda for the economy? As a business school, and one of the things that we are going to have as a conversation with Martin and team is there has been a request around for those counties that have not done this program. What is it that we are doing to probably embed the program as part of our executive education programs? And I think that is a conversation we can finalize and get back to these participants in terms of having this program as part of what we offer. I know we offer many programs in public policy, but probably this specific one is coming out strongly as a program we can offer. The other conversation, and because we are a business school and we love hosting people so that we can have a conversation around how do we become solutions to the societal challenges. Anchored in our vision as a business school and a mission is service to society, spurring and spearheading the transformation of Africa. And Kenya is a trailblazer when it comes to creating enabling environment for the transformation thereof. And so, Bwana Kizito, Olga, and all the partners, when you look at our discourse, especially today, when there was an opportunity for questions, for people to react to the conversation, it looks like we have not given enough time for this conversation. As a business school, we are keen to partner to encourage conversations that are around transformation. What is it that we can do to continue this kind of conversations? Conversations that bring different players, people from different counties, to talk about where are we, what have we been able to do, what are the challenges, how did we overcome those challenges? Because that becomes a learning point for the other county. So my challenge is, how do we partner? And that will be my ask, how do we partner to continue creating an environment for this kind of discourse? As we do that, we have in the room all the answers to the challenges, dynamics that we have in the different counties. I mean, I was looking at the composition of who is in the room, and whatever it is it legal minds? Are you talking about learning interventions? Are you talking about policy perspectives? Are you talking about whatever aspect? And it is in this room. Meaning we have the solutions to whatever challenges there are in our counties, in our country. And so as we go back, for those who've done this program, you're now part of our Strathmore University alumni. Congratulate yourselves. So you're part and parcel of our alumni network. So we'll be reaching out. And I know there's a desk out there If you've not passed by that desk, kindly do that. We want to capture your names as correctly as possible so that when we have engagements, not just with people who've done this program, but other programs, you're not left out. For those who've not done the program, we will be having a conversation around how do we have that program happen. But I know, Olga, we are going, and I'm hopeful that we will have an opportunity to offer this program to the remaining counties. The learnings that have come through from this phase of running the program have led to great iterations. And I'm sure, given an opportunity to offer the program again, it will be at another level. And so I'm hoping we can do that. But even if we don't, because it's important to think sustainability. Martin, I'm careful not to commit too much, but I'm sure we are able to do this. I'm sure we are able to have this program as part of our executive education program. And we partner with all the counties to offer the program. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm told by my team we have feedback link that has been shared to your QR code. We would want you to give us feedback in as far as the 2 days went, any areas of improvement, any other aspect you would wish us to consider for counties that have not done this. So kindly do that, provide us feedback, we will use it, and we want to use that for improvement in terms of other engagements we have. At this point is to thank you for coming, thank you for being here, thank you for your contribution, and as you go back there, we wish you all the best as you transform your communities, your counties. At this point, allow me to invite Olga. She's been my partner in making sure that this happens, and it has been successful. Appreciate her as she comes. And looking forward to doing much more. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. All protocols observed. It's been a wonderful 2 days, and thank you all for the lively conversations that we've had. Even the weather didn't discourage us. Yesterday morning it was cold, it even rained, but we still came again today. So asanteni sana, we appreciate you all for showing up. As you fill out the evaluation forms, you will realize there's a question around worker cooperatives, that there are some worker cooperatives in your county or cooperatives that were registered in a different form that could work as worker cooperatives. Kindly give us that feedback as we just try and analyze the data and see, what the counties are saying about worker cooperatives. So the speakers earlier today said the policy-making process is technical and political. I want to add another layer to that. The policy process is technical, political, and collaborative. We must collaborate. You must bring on board partners. You must speak to your, the other departments and also your intergovernmental counterparts. So that's the third layer. But now that we're in a school environment, and I know it's almost lunchtime, so I just want to ask, so the policy process is, what are the 3 bits of the policy process? And collaborative. Yeah, so the other aspect about the collaboration is on co-creation, co-implementation, co-budgeting, which is very important in weaving that in the process. Other speakers also came, speakers since yesterday were saying many things, but one key learning that came out for me is the importance of learning to balance interests. The interests of your different stakeholders within the county government. And then Pamela mentioned it in passing, but it came out as a very strong statement. Our uniqueness is our wealth. And so every county here has a competitive advantage that makes it unique, and that's where your wealth is. Our winner from Wajir County clearly stated out what their uniqueness is in Wajir, and that's where their wealth is. So even as you craft your policies and legislation, look into your uniqueness, for therein lies your wealth. And then there was the contribution from Kilifi County about ensuring that your programs and sub-activities are anchored in your CIDP, so that then you're also embedded in the budgeting process and the bigger picture of the county. But not only having them there, but safeguarding them. You remember that statement? So that was also a powerful learning for me. And so as we close this forum, I'm reminded of Arthur Ashe's statement, which has been a powerful driving statement in a lot of what I do in my work life, but also in my personal life. Arthur Ashe said, start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. Start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. Sometimes, you feel you don't know where to start with a project that's before you, whether it's personal or even at your work engagements. But start where you are and use what is around you. Do what you can. And in doing what you can, you bring on board other people who can help you along the way. As we close out CLEAR program, I just want to clarify, Global Communities is not closing, it's the program. The USAID funded CLEAR program is the one that's closing. And as we close out, I know in our county-specific engagements, I shared this before, but now that we are all here learning together, I want to leave this as a parting shot. And this was about, it's an acronym on Siri, Siri ya Maendeleo. And this has been captured in our conversations today, where S stands for sustainability. In all you do, ensure you're incorporating aspects of sustainability. Whether or not you're in office today or 10 years later, is that intervention still going to be in place? Is it still going to benefit your people? I stands for innovation. What doesn't keep evolving dies. So you must innovate to keep growing. Ensure that you're always infusing new innovations in your programs, in your projects, and in your activities. Resilience. R stands for resilience. How are you ensuring that those interventions can create resilience within your communities? And even for communities that are vulnerable, how are we then transitioning them from vulnerability to resilience, and where they can make meaningful livelihoods for themselves? And finally, the last I is for inclusion. Ensure inclusivity in all that you do. Even in your public participation, be deliberate about the lists that come, those invitation lists that you're sending out. Are all groups represented? Are all categories represented? So, mabibi na mabwana, hiyo ndio siri ya maendeleo. And with those few remarks, thank you so much for your continued collaboration and engagement. It's been wonderful. Strathmore University Business School, thank you for hosting us, and thank you for being a good partner. Council of Governors, we cannot thank you enough for being there with us through this journey as we've engaged with counties. In absentia, I'd like to also thank the State Department for Cooperatives, Cooperative Alliance of Kenya, Cooperative University of Kenya, and present with us, International Cooperative Alliance. We'd like to thank you for the continued partnership and collaboration as well. Asanteni sana. And with that, I'd like to welcome Bwana Kizito Wangalwa to come and officially close this event for us. Mkaribishe akija.
Thank you, Olga. I am now the obstacle between the hunger pangs and relief to our system. Now, I'll just say a couple of things. One, our excitement to participate in this, to be able to collaborate with all the other agencies in having this together. And in the process, I want to affirm a couple of things. One, that the model policy and model bills that we have enacted by your county assemblies should not be suspended for any reason. Please proceed. Please proceed and use all the social, political, and legislative capital that you have within your county to have those instruments in law. In 2015 or 16, I think 16, I remember sitting in Boma Hotel, either Boma or Eka Hotel, on the policy and the bill of cooperatives, the national one. We are still here today. So we will not postpone discharging our mandate as counties as we wait on a national process to be completed. Wacha watupate kule mbele, mahali tutakuwa. So please proceed and have those instruments of policy and legislation approved in your county executive and county assemblies without any fear that there will be a contradiction. As Bob said, if there is any, the Constitution already provides for a mechanism of resolving such a conflict or contradiction. Secondly, proceed after having those two documents or while processing those two documents to have a county-specific cooperative development strategy. As a brother said here from Kilifi, if you don't have that strategy that looks at what value chains are you trying to promote, what instruments are you going to use, what are the people that you need to develop that strategy, what are the budgets that you need over a long period of time, which then is provided for within your CIDP and your annual budgets, it is an exercise that is very difficult to achieve. Have that strategy for the growth of the cooperative movement within your county. So with those instruments in place, we have an opportunity therefore. You know, the governors are your employers, just like they are our employers at the council. So we cannot whip them to act the way we want, but we can persuade them on something that is tangible, and they will listen, they will affirm, and they will act on the resolutions that they have made themselves. So for us, it's just to follow up. So we want to assure you, therefore, that with good partners that we have here, like global communities and the CAK and even the State Department, we will provide an agenda for them to deliberate and come together, basically to discuss how to ensure that the cooperative sector is prioritized within each of the counties. So once they have an agenda, that is all we have. Once they have that agenda, sisi sasa tutaendelea. Kama ni capacity building wamesema, we will ask them to give us money. We will ask you therefore to come and have a session like this together with our partners. So that, again, is something that we want to commit on the sensitization, at least for the governors. MCAs inaweza kuwa ngumu kidogo because the assemblies forum and might not move as fast as we have, but we will attempt to get maybe the chairpersons who are responsible for the county assemblies also to participate in such an intervention. Now, public participation, I will not speak to it. Bob and I think Mukami earlier on did talk about that as a very good framework. But something that I would want to add, following through what I heard Bob say, public participation is not an event. How are we on a continuous basis utilizing the ward offices, the sub-county offices, to provide a continuous engagement between the people and the county government? Or have we centralized everything to the county headquarters? And unless now the headquarters is the one moving to the villages or to the wards, nothing is ordinarily happening. How are the ward administrators, and if you have the sub-county cooperative officers, on all the extension officers at that level, how have we facilitated them, or how are we facilitating them then to become the agents of reaching out on a continuous basis with the community, so that we do not again have to rely on people we are inviting and you're expecting them to be working, like it was mentioned here. We are going for public participation, but people are in the farms, people are in their businesses, people are in their workplaces, but that is the day we are going to look for them. How do we just have a continuous engagement of the people and their government, and the feedback mechanism is provided? That also will be able to help us. Finally, Wajir, I think was the showstopper for today. That marketing opportunity for Wajir. As a person, I felt very guilty. There are only 4 counties I have not stepped in this country. Wajir is one of them. And I think I must go there. Now that I'll see the Lion Hill, and the other opportunities. The other is Marsabit. Nikienda Dubai, there is a desert, the desert what do they call it? Desert drive that you must do when you go to Dubai. But I'm told there is Chalbi Desert. I have never been to Chalbi Desert. How do we get a Chalbi Desert and a desert drive in Marsabit as part of the ecosystem of the tourism that we are now also promoting? So the Council of Governors is again engaging with the county governments on isolating all the tourism potentials and circuits as an opportunity to make the uniqueness of each county be able to be realized. So now, with those commitments on the policy and legislation, which we will be following through to find out where you are and what kind of support you need so that we can be able to help, on the sensitization for the governors, on the cooperative sector, and the mapping of the tourism potentials that we have. Those are commitments that we have at the council so far. I want therefore to say asanteni sana for participating, and with the powers conferred upon me by yourselves, I now call off this convention. I thank you.
Mpigie makofi tena. So, lunch. Okay. Karibuni sana. Lunch is served in the tent. And kwa vile watu hawakubaki jana for the rest of what was the networking baraza, please, we have a further networking baraza this afternoon. So msiwe na haraka sana. Let's go and continue our conversation in the tent. Asanteni sana, and those traveling back, safe journey. Remember to do the evaluation on the QR form. Yeah. So, sorry, somebody wants a prayer. Somebody wants a prayer before we go. Huh? Any volunteer to